Morning, good afternoon, good evening, one and all. Thanks for joining us in the Voice of CIO episode. I am your host, Suresh GP. The Voice of CIO episode is focused on interviewing real world CIOs to share their experiences to the global community. So today, I'm honored to have Eneko Ferrero Martin, CIO of Aytas-Abasa from south of Spain, joining us in the Voice of CIO. Thanks, Eneko, for taking time today and being with us. Give us a little bit of a background on your journey. You've been as a CIO for over 4 years now. What's been your journey to become a CIO?
Thank you, Suresh. It's a pleasure to stay here today. I am right now a CIO role, but I have a lot of experience on IT, more or less 16 years. I started from the beginning, intern and other technical roles. I always have been working in multinational companies in different sectors: energy, industry, automotive, food, retail, also real estate, so many sectors. And now, as you told, I am in Sevilla, in Aytas-Abasa, leading a transformation of a company, talking about IT. And in my previous roles, I also did this kind of transformations.
Awesome. So, to get us kick-started, how do you define a company's current IT maturity level before starting any transformation? Because any transformation takes time. So, what are some of the 3 to 4 indicators you look to avoid starting, this transformation?
It's a very interesting question because from my experience, when your first day in a company and you start asking things, no, what is for example, the process to raise tickets and see the level of or load of work that you have in the department. First question is, where is the ITSM tool and what are the number of tickets? This is a good indicator because you can see if the company doesn't have a tool to operate, and give support. It's very difficult to work in innovation things and these kind of things, because you don't have a pillar. Another question, for example, is please share with me the maintenance contracts of the infrastructure, of the ERP, or the contracts they have to provide service. And sometimes the companies doesn't have the ERPs on maintenance or infrastructure. So you can see there that probably the company is always with fires, in the operations. There's 2 pillars that are very important to see what is the status more or less of the company. And another big and important point is, for example, the purchasing is very interesting for me because sometimes the operative teams, they have to do purchasing for computers, cell phones, and these kind of things. And if they spend long time with this process, I think that they are not dedicating value time for good things for the company.
Right.
So are pillars that when you have experience in these kinds of processes, you can see more or less what is the way of the company talking about the IT, let's say, transformation or maturity of the company. And then you have a lot of things, cybersecurity, ERP processes, and these kind of things. But, are there more or less pillars that you can see that for me, the maturity of the department or of the company talking about IT?
Yeah, that's fine. So when you say the 5 fundamental pillars, like infrastructure, data, process, people, security, how do you prioritize them? Because before any new projects comes, because I know a lot of projects keep on coming to managing this. So how do you manage these 5 pillars? How do you prioritize?
Yeah, this is very important question because the CEOs of the VPs of operation of these kind of roles in the company, they are always with the business. They want to grow and have a smooth operations and everything. No, for example, you have to or we have to integrate one company in I don't know in another country or these kind of things. No, and they always forget that first are the pillars, no?
Correct.
And to have standardized processes and standardized things, no? So I always start for the pillars. I always tell the CEOs or all the people with top level in the company, first we have to start with the first, like onion, first infrastructure, then cybersecurity at the same time, processes, data, and also the people, because we always forget the people. As I told you, I always work for multinational companies, and for me, the cultural part, the people, is the most important part in all the projects, because it's not the same working with people from another country or another one. This is the best because you have different approach and different thoughts, but the people is the most important thing for the projects. So first, as I told you, the pillars, infrastructure, people, and this kind of things, and then the processes, because if not, you can build a big house with swimming pool, with 5 rooms, many things, but if you don't have the pillars, the house in a few years is going to going down. So we are to prioritize for me the operations and the infrastructure in the first part, and also the operations, because you can start building things, but if you can operate after the implementation, you are completely dead for me. And we have to transmit this to the top level people in the companies.
That's right. It's one of the things you talk about, the fundamentals and foundation. If your operations are not strong enough, how are you going to build it? So the proof is in the pudding. So it's kind of making that very clear. Now, how does a CIO ensure those IT pillars are aligned with business strategy and not just technology? Because I've seen a lot of times we have been very much focused on technology without understanding how business strategy works. So how do you make sure that the alignment or convergence really happen?
Yeah. First, always ask to the business, because sometimes, we came over from the technical part or technical side, and you always want to resolve things and this kind of things, no? But first, before starting to do anything, you have to talk with the business and when we want to be, because we can introduce many cybersecurity things, infrastructure, these kind of things, but probably, or maybe the company is doing a profit of, I don't know, 1 million, and you don't want to waste more resources talking about technology in this kind of business, So we have to change our mind. First, talk and ask, and then put the technology and translate technology things into the business needs, because sometimes we want to put the best thing on technology, and doesn't make sense, because you know that we are in a software as a service era, and we have to pay for everything. So we have to align always this kind of things, because if not, we can put the best technology, but the business doesn't require that. So then you have to pay, the company have to pay, and then the CEOs, why we are paying for this if we don't have profit with this kind of business, So we have to always ask and talk with the business. It's a simple thing, but very complicated thing at the same time,
Correct. And I think
But for me, we have to do the things simple. Is the most important thing also in transformations, because we always want to do new things, work on this, another one, but very complicated things. We have to focus in the simple things.
Yeah,
For
no, I
me,
think
is the best approach.
that's a very important part that you talked about. And we have this concept of KISS, keep it simple, stupid, right? But it's also about articulating. What you're saying is that as leaders or CIOs, we should be able to articulate in the business value in a very simple manner so that it's not a complicated technology. Now, in terms of designing a IT transformation, a roadmap by phases. How do you avoid this big bang approach to make sure we still get some quick wins with some, structural initiatives? So how do you balance the transformation, nimble enough, fasting, moving faster, but also making sure that we don't, backfire with big bang approach? So how do you do that?
Sometimes when you approach to a new company, they have or in our companies are the same. They have different fights here in finance, in production, and everything. No, the companies are like this. So it's very important to first think what we want to do. Because sometimes, imagine, I like to put this example. Imagine that you are in a road, and you have different flutes everywhere, and you want to go from point A to point C, and you have to do all the road. We have to follow the road, and it's a very complicated, road, no? So why you have to work in one thing that probably, if you think you do a project that you can build a bridge and you can go faster, but not now, in 1 month, no?
Yeah.
It's very important for me, very important thing. Do the thing simple again. Don't go for the first thing to fix one thing. If you think in the close future, doing the thing simple, and if you can do one project for fix 20 things, for example, don't waste time in fix 3 things in one project. Doesn't make sense. So this is very important to transmit to the top people of the company, that first think, because if you don't think, you are going to fail sometimes, and you are going to spend resources, money, and these kind of things, no? So do one project and fix many things at the same time.
Yeah.
It's very important to the thing data transformation, no? Because sometimes, as I told you, I want to fix this thing. No, first think and then work in a smart way.
No, I think you're right, because
so it's very important.
we can get overwhelmed with so much things to be done and just focusing on one thing. And I think the important part is also start finishing, right? And which is also thinking and saying that, thinking holistically, whether this actually makes the most sense in terms of business value to achieve that target. Now, in terms of legacy, and a lot of companies that we have seen have got a lot of legacy applications. Now, legacy ERP alone handles 80% billing, but costs us trouble, right? So, what approach do you take in order to manage this ERP monster when it comes to transformation?
It's a very good question, because, for example, I am going to talk you about my experience, right? So I work for a company, a really good company, that they want to have the most fancy ERP with all the new capabilities of the work, and but at the same time, the ERP was a handmade ERP 20 years ago or 30 years ago, and then only one guy for support the ERP operations. So it's not possible to have the fancy and new things with this environment. No, it's impossible. So what was the approach? We are going to go to a commercial solution, and then we adapt the processes that were built 20 or 30 years ago, and then we are going to have a smart processes and new processes. We have to rethink the processes with a new implementation, for go faster with this approach and with this method, So in this case, probably or sometimes the best approach is to replace the old ERP, but not copy paste the processes. No, we are going to put new operations team, and we are going to put a commercial ERP to try to go faster immediately, no? Because sometimes you cannot do the same thing with a 30 years old ERP. You are investing a lot of money for nothing, So these are probably the best approach for me. Sometimes depend of the company, depend the situations, no? But we have to take advantage of the migration, but not copy paste the processes. Rethink the processes and implement the processes again. So it's the best approach, because you have many years, different people pass through the company, So study the processes, innovating the process and put a new ERP on this. So it's the best example, no? It's a real thing. And for me, it's the best approach. No copy paste. No copy paste.
Yeah, I think that's right, because sometimes what happens is they want to get some quick, dirty solutions. Then what happens is it actually defeats the whole purpose. So we need to relook at, remodel, reoriented that, because the old ways of working, whatever has taken us so far, will not take us beyond. So we need to relook. As a CEO, right, the AI is the most shiny topic. Now, the CEO demands, a new AI, a shiny app, when pillars fail. So, how do you handle that? How do you say, wait, follow the plan first, without getting, fired? So, what's the approach that you would take when the CEO is demanding, oh, I need it now? AI, it was supposed to be yesterday. You've not even got that. So, how do you handle such kind of demands?
It's a really good question because we are seeing all the day AI in everywhere. I remember it's a like a joke. I bought a screen protector for my cell phone, and in the box it's a protector with AI. No, so everything supposed to have has AI everywhere. No, and this is a very important question. For me, my approach always depends of the company and the moment, no? But for me, the AI has to be inside the tools right now, okay? Why? Because, for example, ERP for human resources, no? What do you want to put AI there? What is really the benefit to the company to put AI there? What AI? Probably the software has an AI to filter by the absences with the workload and many things, and the software itself can provide you a report that has AI, to build a report. So I think that we are to work on that way, depend of the company. And in finance, the same report for if the AI has this data, it can provide a report with AI that was impossible to build or very difficult to build by the employees itself, So we have to work on AI on the software, inside the software, not build new models, because I talked to another colleagues, and for the moment, it's very difficult to see a business case of AI in the common companies, no, in the 90% of the companies, not big multinational techs. That obviously AI is very important and very useful, no. But in the reality, in the normal companies, I think that we are to go in that way, because now the providers, the manufacturers of the software, they are building at the same time AI. So,
Correct. Absolutely.
They need years to consolidate the technology, because it's not the same AI for final users than for the company, because the licenses, the cost and everything, because we have to put security and put many things in only one AI processes, no? So my approach in the regular companies is go with AI inside the software, because you can be go faster and you can implement faster the AI for me. So you have to deal with the CEO telling this, that is not easy, no? Because probably he's waiting a flight in the airport, and he's asking ChatGPT for something, no? And it's very difficult to deal with this, but it's my approach.
Right. So you're saying it has to be inbuilt within the technology side and not outside, because it's a lot of complexity setting up upfront and doing some of those work.
Mm.
It defeats the whole purpose. Let's not reinvent the wheel. Let's leverage technology part of it, AI in the technology/software, that can accelerate the whole growth and adoption part of it. Now, one of the things in the whole world of CIOs is about people, culture, and digital skills, right? So if you look at these three facets in the transformation, these three are very important. The people as you rightly said, it's all about people who are actually delivering work and outcomes, the culture of the company, and the digital skills. So, in your case, as we go through this whole change, right? How do you manage change to ensure the adoption? Because things are running at a much faster rate, and the way you had handled before is no longer sufficient. So, you need to accelerate your journey. So, how do you adopt to that change with people,
Uh,
culture, and digital skills?
yeah. As I said before, for me, the culture and the people is the most important thing in any transformation and any company, because you can have the uh, most important people in one area, but if that people doesn't match with the rest of the team, you are completely dead. No,
Mm.
because we are a team. So what I used to do in this kind of approaches is first create an org chart with people or persons that are the best for each area of IT, cybersecurity, ERP, all the workplace, all the areas. No, but first we have to ask to that people, you want to be the responsible for this area, because maybe not, or maybe the area doesn't like, or I don't know. First ask, and then put responsibles for each area. That is the way for me that it helps to the team, and that to that people to grow and to go together to the same aim, no? And then have a global aim for the department or for the team. Because if you work in this way, for my experience, is the best approach, no? And then the culture of the company, because as I told you, I always work for multinational companies, and my error at the beginning, I always work in headquarters. No, in that country we have to do the things in this way because we are the headquarters and we have to do the things in that way. It's a completely error. Obviously, you have to have standards, but you have to know that each country has different particularities, and you have to feel that country or that team, that country, that they can decide some things. Because if not, you are completely dead, or the transformation is dead, because you are going to have resistance there, you
Correct.
know?
Correct.
So we have to work in that way. And obviously, if you are going to integrate, for example, one company, another country, if you have the standards, if you have the pillar or master team, that they know the aim of the department and the team and the company, is uh, very easy to integrate. But always think on the local team,
Yeah.
because it's very important that the approach. And sometimes in the multinationals, uh, it's different. No, we have to do the things in this way. For me, it's not the best approach, because in the close future, we have to have very resistance there, a lot of wars there. No. We have to feel the people participating in the whole transformation process. For that is the reason, because I told you that for me the culture and the people is the most important thing for the technologies, for security, RPs, or whatever AI or whatever we have in the future.
Now that makes sense,
Yes.
because one of the things that we all talk about is think local, act global. So when we are very specific to a particular region, the tax norms, the cultural aspects, the appetite of how they do it. So it cannot be a one size fits all standardization method that you can do. You really need to adopt towards that particular context, the cultural and nuances about it. Now, talk a little bit about seven systems burning simultaneously, but your plan says focus on three. Now, how do you justify this whole discipline of chaos to the business, right? Or, discipline over chaos, because there's so much fire burning everywhere and you can get lost in this whole part. So how do we manage that chaos for the
It's the same that I told you before, no? We have to have a roadmap, and you have floods. The same example, you have floods everywhere, and you don't have to follow the road first. Or maybe you can build a bridge to cross from point A to point B. For example, I can give you an example that is the same, is the best thing to share my thoughts on this. So, for example, you have a software for invoicing, no? That is not the best, it's not integrated with the ERP, but works. But sometimes you have fires there because it's not integrated, you know, the things that can happen, no? The approach is not go and fix that particular thing. Maybe we have to think with other departments of the company. If we replace this software, we are going to integrate the new software with the ERP, with the another software, with another software. So that is the best way, you know, to continue the roadmap, fix momentarily the problem, but replace that software so we can avoid a lot of fires there, you know? And this is the approach, because you can have many fires, but you have to go always with the plan, always with the plan, always with the plan. For me, it's very important, because if not, you are going to continue having fires everywhere. And also, and the most important thing again is the operations for me also. You have to build a strong operations team, an operations model to avoid fires, and then start step by step fixing or replacing the fires that you have, but thinking in global. If we replace this, we are going to have this advantage, and you know that is the best approach. But always is real that if you have fires and the business is stopped, you have to work on that, no? But for me, is the plan, and continue with the plan.
That's a very valid point you say. Sometimes when we don't have a plan, some things happen, then you get into this mode of what should I do? And it takes time for you to decision making. But if you have a fixed plan, come what may, with all these fires, you have to do your things relentlessly well. What you can do in terms of people, process, products, and partners, everything put together in a plan, then you are really focused. And you also talked about the operations team and the operating model should be sound enough. With there are issues popping up, we need to iron it out once for all so that we don't reinvent the whole wheel. We fix this issue, douse the fire, abort it once for all. Because all that we don't want is don't want to spend a lot of time and effort in dousing fire. It has to be like a way to reduce it quickly based on our knowledge and experience to do that. Now, in terms of moving, we all talk about data as the new oil, like if you're having data to managing data, right? So today with AI in picture, AI data has become a strategic asset. So how do you build that data as a strategic asset within your phased roadmap?
For my experience, is always have the pillars, and I am trying to explain. No, we always want to AI with data, blah 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 blah. But sometimes in the operations of or in the process, in the ERP, the data is not the best one, or you build a report software on the report integration, and the architecture of that architecture of the software is not built in a good conditions. So it's a completely mess that you want to have AI and the best data, but if you don't have the pillars built in the correct way, first the data and then the architecture of the data. Sometimes we have errors. The companies, you know, no, you have to have we are going to have the data in 2 weeks. Yeah, but in 3 months, you are going to have many problems because the data is not the good one, because the architecture fails, that connection, blah, 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 blah. So it's very important to have a strong architecture of the data, talking about the data itself, and also infrastructure security architecture. It's a perfect match to can explore AI and, to have the best processes and the best data for the company.
Nice.
So not build the house from the roof. No. Again, the pillars, and then the things go by themselves. So it's my experience.
Focus on the foundation being very strong enough and build that horizontal, and then just, it's able to take off much easier. So my final question is, in terms of when you say a phased-wise plan, there are some KPIs. So what kind of KPIs have you measured for real success? So how will we know that the transformation is successful? Finally, we reach the goal. So what kind of KPIs or real success measures that you have seen that will help people to tell to the business that this transformation was successful?
One important point is simple, but if you start in having 100 tickets and you have 20, is because you did projects in the good way. I mean, remember the flood again, the example. With workplace, we have many problems with the printers, with the computers, with the purchasing that I told you that we take long time to provide a computer. So if we do the purchasing, if we do the ITSM, if we do the operations model, all the tickets are going to reduce the workload of the team. So that is the best proof that you are doing the things in the correct way. For example, and always the KPIs of the business. We can provide a number of reports in the good time, these kind of things. The normal KPIs, but sometimes the KPIs are not numbers only.
Correct.
For me, you can have feelings. That is very important. If the team knows everything, if the team can work autonomously, if the people with some, if you ask to the people, are you happy right now? When months ago they are not happy, is this the best approach? Always the best approach or best indicator that you can have, more than numbers, because numbers are numbers, as always, are good, but we are person, we have people that
Correct. We have emotions to do that, and it's all about sentiment analysis, and it actually reinforces the concept of experience indicators, because experience could be the employee experience, it could be the business partner experience, it could be the partner experience in terms of vendors, suppliers that you deal with. How do you treat them? Because you're absolutely right. Like we seem to be so obsessed with the tangible metrics in terms of numbers, but there are a lot of things which are intangible that needs to be brought in towards experience indicators, getting value in terms of employees, business partners, and suppliers go a long way in making that successful. So thank you so much, Eneko, for sharing your wisdom today in terms of the voice of CIO. I'm hoping that all our viewers would have stood to gain a lot of insights today from all your rich experience and very pragmatic approach towards the pillars, the foundation, towards handling the whole aspect of cultural nuance and understanding how locally you operate, adapt and adopt, and also focusing just not on tangible numbers, but also the sentiment analysis and experience economy. Thank you so much, Eneko, for your time. I really appreciate your thing, and I hope you enjoyed it as well.
Thank you very much, Suresh.
Thanks, thanks everyone for your time. Hope you enjoyed this episode of Voice of CIO. Please ensure to click on the bell icon and follow us on the channel of Voice of CIO episode from TaUB Solutions. Thank you, everyone.